Going into 2004, writer Jeff Johns was the hottest rising star in DC Comics. He had had acclaimed runs on both JSA and The Flash, and followed those up with successful relaunches of Hawkman and the Teen Titans. With that in mind, Johns pitched an idea for a comic to Cliffhanger, an imprint of Wildstorm Productions that focused on creator-owned properties. Which always sort of confused me, because technically everything at Wildstorm was creator-owned.
For those who may not remember, Wildstorm started out as artist Jim Lee's publishing arm of Image Comics. Lee created many of the core titles for Wildstorm: Wildcats, Gen 13, Stormwatch, and by extension its sister book, The Authority. However, there are also books like Danger Girl and Planetary that actually belong to their creators. Danger Girl is actually now published by IDW, and this would hold true even after Wildstorm was purchased by DC in 1998. Wildstorm even had more than one imprint for creator-owned books. There was the America's Best Comics line, whose most noteworthy title, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, is now published by Top Shelf Comics. Then again, I would also be remiss if I didn't mention that Wildstorm also had a hefty number of licensed books, such as Thundercats, World of Warcraft, Friday the 13th, X-Files, Veronica Mars, and True Blood.
Anyway, the story Johns pitched was about a team of demon hunters / exorcists who each had been demonically possessed in the past. And today, that's the book we're looking at. This is The Possessed.
In the area of Washington, D.C., a priest performs the ritual of exorcism on a young girl. The demon within the girl asserts itself, taunting the priest and tossing him into a window. It's then that help arrives in the form of a group. One of the group, named Burroughs, injects the priest with holy water to prevent demonic migration, while the two female members of the group, Holly and Trixie, work with Holly's father, Walt, to pin the possessed girl down in the form of a cross. Burroughs then completes the ritual of exorcism, and the demon emerges from the girl. The team begins blasting away at the demon with special blessed bullets. The demon then grabs Walt, forcing Holly to step in and blast it with a flamethrower. The demon is burned up, and the team comforts the girl before choosing to return to their home base in Philadelphia.
And here's the group proper. We have the group's leader, Christian Pierce, Christian's girlfriend, Holly, Holly's estranged father, Walt, rookie Trix, and team priest, Derek Burroughs.
Back in Philadelphia, Christian sets about looking up a peculiar symbol he found scribbled on a piece of paper back in D.C. Holly comes in to talk with Christian just as he makes a discovery. However, the group then gets another call before he can explain anything.
The group arrives at a church where a young boy became possessed while undergoing his first communion. Upon arrival, the demon exits the boy and grabs a hold of Walt. However, the holy water injection prevents the demon from entering Walt's body, and it migrates to another parishioner and runs off.
The group takes Walt and the boy to a nearby hospital to get patched up. Walt beats himself up. He knows he really doesn't belong with this group. The fact is, when Holly initially became possessed, he ran away, and the 2 years later when Holly's mother died, and he's been trying to make up for lost time. Meanwhile, Holly and Christian join Burroughs in checking the outside of the hospital. The three split up, and Christian winds up being jumped by the possessed man from the church. Christian's radio goes dead, and Burroughs and Holly race to Christian's location to find the eviscerated corpse of the previously possessed churchgoer. Christian, however, is missing. Burroughs then finds Christian's holy water syringe, and it's full. The demon is now possessing Christian, who wanted it that way. The group returns to its headquarters, where Holly continuously frets while Burroughs goes over Christian's research. Holly begins to recognize some of the symbols Christian was in possession of when a call for another exorcism comes in, and the group has to head to Ironwood, Michigan. In Ironwood, Mike Wagoner, father of the possessed girl who's named Sierra, accidentally sips from the holy water that is intended for his daughter. A priest comes in and begins questioning Mike. When asked why he hasn't been in church, Wagoner points out he's Jewish. It's then that the exorcist arrives. It's Christian.
Christian enters Sierra Wagoner's room, and the demon that was possessing him is immediately expelled and sent back to hell by the demon and the young girl. Christian then says he's been waiting a long time to meet up with the demon inside the Sierra.
Meanwhile, the others arrive in Ironwood, which has quickly become a ghost town. Holly explains that the symbols on Christian's notes matched ones he had carved into his own flesh. The group then receives a warning in the form of a large pentagram burned into the ground. The group makes its way to the town church. They open the doors to find the priest impaled on the cross and the entire congregation possessed. The group begins taking on the people in the church, eventually throwing them out. It's then that the priest reveals his own possession. The group ties the priests up and leaves Trix to watch over him, while the rest of the group search for Christian. Holly thinks she spots him and gets separated from the group. She wanders through an abandoned pet store. There she finds Christian and several other possessed townsfolk chowing down. Holly quickly finds herself overwhelmed. It's then that she's saved by Mike. Mike takes Holly into his locksmith shop where he and his daughter Sierra have been hiding. Holly pieces together that Christian got to Sierra before anyone else did.
Meanwhile, Walt and Burroughs arrive in another church in town, and there they find a woman strung up on a crucifix and covered in the same symbols from Christian's notes. It's then that Burroughs recognizes the pattern. It turns out that the demon that had possessed Christian as a child, is really the devil himself.
Walt and Burroughs inspect further and discover a room with possessed children hanging from the ceiling. Meanwhile, the tied-up priest taunts Trix to the point that he manages to cause her to lose concentration long enough to escape. Trix goes off in pursuit.
As this is happening, Holly and the Wagoners look on from the locksmith shop, where they see several more possessed townsfolk chowing down on nearby animals.
Holly points out that Christian had warned something like this happening, possession on a mass scale, that is. This could possibly be due to religious faith being in general waning around the world. This makes Holly realize they need to go back to the church. They meet back up with Walt and Burroughs along the way.
Just as the group starts to get overwhelmed, help arrives in the form of Trix, who makes quick work of several demons via a flamethrower. It's then that Trix comes into contact with the demon that had possessed her just a few years earlier. She incinerates it. It's then that Christian arrives.
Holly tries to reach out to Christian, only for the devil to knock her back. Several more demons appear, with one of them grabbing Sierra. Sierra is then taken over to Christian, as Walt manages to free Holly from demonic grip. The devil taunts the group, saying that Christian was trying to trap him. That's what the scars on his chest were for. But the devil is too powerful to be trapped so easily. It's then that Trix pops up with a fire hose, blessed by Burroughs. In other words, instant holy water. The holy water from the hose manages to briefly knock the devil out of Christian. Christian begs the others to open fire, even if that means killing him. Tearfully, Holly opens fire and the others join in. Christian is killed, and the devil with his minions are sent back to hell. Afterwards, Mike and Sierra elect to return to the group's home in Philadelphia to ease Sierra through the trauma of the possession and to prepare for next time. There'll always be a next time.
And so ends The Possessed. How was it? Well, I'll admit, it was a rather intriguing premise for a book. Definitely evocative of shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Angel, but with more of a mature slant. Unfortunately, that's pretty much where the compliments end. The artwork is really, really muddy. It's really hard to tell what's going on sometimes. Like, I think they were trying to go for sort of a dark but cartoony look. There are better examples of artwork for that. Artists like Michael Avon Oming or Mike Mignola. It should have been more evocative of that and not, well, whatever the hell this was supposed to be. Also, the characters are frightfully bland. Really, I'd say the only characters that get anything close to character development at all are Walt and Mike. And even then, it's pretty minimal at best. I mean, I got a better sense of the characters looking this thing up on Wikipedia than I did from the actual book. Also, for a horror comic, this is really not frightening at all. It's, like I said, kind of boring, mainly due to the bland characters. And so, because of that, I'm going to have to give The Possessed an F. And with that, let's see what we'll be doing next time on the Random Trade Review.